Good evening. We are up and running again. Good to go on this Monday night live on Premier Sports on X and YouTube. Get your questions in. Alan Hutton and Michael Stewart here as always. It's been a busy weekend and all 8 games from the Premier Sports Cup played from Friday night onwards. All the highlights live on this show. And a quick reminder, the Scottish Football Social Club is brought to you in association with SBK and Premier Sports. SBK, a betting app that cuts out the nonsense. Just straight up sports betting for folk who actually care about the game. Proper odds, no gimmicks. So all the League Cup and the Premier Sports Cup quarter-final draw discussion on the way on this programme. Al, has it been a busy weekend for you? Did you enjoy your Saturday at Ibrox?
I knew you were going to ask that. It was up and down. It was an emotional roller coaster at times, but they got the job done. But yes, it was a difficult watch. Yes, it was a difficult watch at times. I am not going to lie.
Well, let's see if it's any different tomorrow night, Al. But anyway, we've got a lot to talk about on the programme. Michael, I think we should just get right into it because we promised the producer Jamie 45 minutes last week. And because of your long answers again, we almost hit the hour mark and didn't make our TV slot. So let's go on. No more small talk from you, Michael Stewart. I'm happy you're in from that huge back garden of yours to get right into the football. Let's begin talking Celtic Falkirk because you were there on Friday night, Michael, to kick off the weekend. And it wasn't all easy for Celtic, but in the end, a really convincing scoreline.
Darrell, you're just talking about long answers. That's got to be the longest question I've heard.
Hey, listen, the viewers just need a good intro, Michael. Okay, that's all they need.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the performance from Celtic was as you come to expect, just in the polar opposite of what you've sort of described from Ibrox in regards to, regardless of the changes they make, they are a ruthless machine, to be perfectly honest. And Falkirk were just fighting an uphill battle all the way. It was an impressive performance. More game time for Kieran Tierney, who I think continues to grow, getting back into familiar surroundings of Celtic. And I mean, this goal from Alistair Johnson was a standout. I thought he was really good. And overall, regardless, or just for a moment, forgetting about the sort of transfer sagas that are going on at Celtic and Brendan Rodgers for clear frustration, he's going to be happy with what the players are producing that are in the building at Celtic, because they're looking pretty good at the moment, you've got to say. The caveat, of course, is they clearly need reinforcements at the top end of the park to make a real fist of it in the Champions League.
Yeah, I'll come to that, Michael. But what a moment, by the way, for young Dane Murray. Just signed a contract extension as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, he's 22-year-old. He signed a new contract, scores his first goal as well. There's a real sort of conundrum there. When you look at Stephen Welsh, for example, he's 25-year-old now. He'd signed a new contract, a year or two ago as well. You want to be in a position where obviously you're at a big club like Celtic. That is the attraction. But they've got to be getting game time, And obviously the new loanees in from Man City Pussy as well to go along with the players that are already there, with Trusty, Scales, Carter Vickers. My concern is just getting game time, or maybe he's going to have to go out and loan somewhere. But certainly looking at him there, I'd imagine there'd be quite a few suitors to take him on loan.
Which begs the question, Michael, because this week is huge. Kairat Almaty, I know Celtic are big favourites in this tie, but they can't afford a slip up, not just financial slip up, but think transfer plans, the future Brendan Rodgers as well. Feels to me like there's an awful lot riding in making sure Celtic get into the Champions League. So with that in mind, who starts at centre half?
Well, I mean, I think it's, laterally in the campaign last season and the start of this campaign, it looks like his first two are Carter Vickers and Scales. But there's been a couple of games so far. Scales has looked a little bit, loose, a wee bit sort of uncomfortable in possession, which is normally probably what you would say his attribute that's better than Trusty, a little bit more comfortable in possession. So I would go with that, Carter Vickers and Scales, but I wouldn't be massively surprised if there was Trusty getting put in instead. But it's much of a muchness. There's not a huge difference with regards to either or.
Celtic are looking strong, aren't they, Alan? And Michael's right what he said about the fullbacks. Alistair Johnson, just brilliant. But I think everyone's come to expect that sort of performance. Doesn't matter the competition or the day, he seems to be so steady. Yeah. And Kieran Tierney, given all the question marks, is he going to stay fit? The way they've managed his minutes, just looks like he's the exact same Kieran Tierney we saw in his best days at Arsenal at times.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been perfect for him. Like Michael said, coming back into a club where you know everything, what it takes to play there. The fans love you anyway. So he's coming back to that love. And I just think managing these minutes, getting him up to speed is the right thing to do. But his performance, even he's on the pitch, he's just doing what he used to do, what we're used to seeing him doing for all these years. He's driving forward. He's even coming inside at times. He's linking up with Maeda very well. I think they look really dangerous together. So it's going to be an interesting one for them moving forward because I think they are very strong. And they just wear teams down. They're just relentless. They don't give you a minute. Even look at Johnson's goal there. There's like 3 or 4 rounds hunting in packs to win the ball back to then go and try and score. So the way Celtic play looks like how Russell Martin wants to see his team in the future. He wants to see the desire within the place to go and hunt people down and win it back and movement, disrupting backlines. They're just not there yet. But Celtic are a well-oiled machine when it comes to playing that way, and you can see it.
But, a really good... Go on, Michael.
Dad, I was just going to say, I mean, I totally get what you're saying in regards to the way that Russell Martin would want to play. But you could continue to go back and say, that was the way that Michael Beale would have wanted his side to play. Yeah. That's the way that Philippe Clement would want his side to play. And the difficulty is actually putting that into practice. And a large part of it comes down to the leadership that's within. I mean, we've spoken about this endlessly. And the only way it's ever going to change at Ibrox is getting the right players in. Because if you continue to bring in not bad characters, I'm just talking about players who are not at that level or no leadership skills, you're never going to get to that end result of players being able to collectively come together to play like that. This hasn't happened overnight. This has happened and has evolved over a period of time. Probably you look at from when Brendan Rodgers first went to Celtic, he elevated that team. He took them to a new level, took the club to a new level. He made the players better that were already there. But if you look at the players that were already there, there was a strong spine and there was a real good core of Scottish players that Brendan Rodgers, made a lot better, and they have continued to grow on top and, progress and evolve on strong foundations. Rangers have never had strong foundations.
No, you need talented players and enough of them as well to make that sort of system work. Sinisalo had a big save in the game, Michael. He's sort of taking his chance, and Brendan Rodgers confirming that this season, if he's going to keep him, he's going to play him at times. So he came up with the goods once again in the game. I guess the only other question mark, really, I'm not saying the goalkeeper's necessarily a question mark selection-wise for midweek. The only other question mark is it Engels? Big money transfer fee last year. Brendan Rodgers said he brought him up for big Champions League nights like this. The power, the energy he brings to the team. Or is it Nygren, who's been very impressive so far this season? Is that a big decision, or is it an easy one to make at the moment, Michael?
Well, it's a big decision, but I think it's a fairly clear one. I think Nygren's going to be playing. I think he's settled in brilliantly, looks really comfortable. And the challenge is obviously for Engels to react and react well. I thought, Engels showed a lot of hunger and desire on Friday night. Yeah. I thought he was looking lively.
His deliveries to corners.
Aye, they were absolutely brilliant, as Al said. So, I mean, that's the healthy competition that's there, that drives them on. So I think for me, I think it's pretty stick on. I'd be very surprised if Nygren wasn't starting, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I would agree.
But it shows that the strength and depth that's there at the moment. I think the bigger question, it's not question mark because they're limited, to be perfectly honest. But the bigger sort of conundrum is, how does he put together that front three? What does that look like, and who's it that's making it up in the game on Wednesday? But moving forward as well, that's the big one for Celtic.
Oh yeah, and I think obviously Brendan Rodgers wanted more transfer activity done before this game, but maybe the draw's favourable and they can wait to get the targets they really want. But the Celtic fans are expecting signings, and anything other than progression would be a disaster. Right, onwards we go then.
Darrell, see on that point though, because it's an interesting one, right? And it's been I would say it's probably been a classic sort of scenario over the years with Celtic in terms of wait and see, Champions League, all that sort of stuff, right? Favourable draw. Well, if you're looking at it from that perspective of a favourable draw, you're basically saying they've got a great chance of getting into the group stages. So it makes no difference in terms of why wait to then make the additions that you're talking about. I genuinely believe, obviously, the board are trying to get the players in, but they've not been able to get the deals done yet. But the bigger picture here is that if they don't get the calibre of player that they have got previously and they need now in those key areas, never mind the Champions League, they're running the risk of losing the manager. That's the big thing for me.
There's no doubt about that. If you read between the lines, Michael, there's no doubt about that at all. I just mean, my point of the transfers was, let's say if it was a draw where Celtic weren't necessarily favourites to get through and there was a real pressing needs for players, if they were negotiating a £7 million fee or something and a club's asking for 10, they might want to hold off and try and negotiate further. If they desperately needed the players, maybe they would have paid over the odds for now. But we've got to move forwards, all these games to get through. Let's go on to the Saturday action then. Morton 0, Aberdeen 3, Al. Obviously the Dons needed a win. Yenge needed a goal as well. So a couple of real
and Nielsen as well.
Absolutely. As well. Yeah, he just needed something to go for him, I guess. But look, obviously the manager as well to get. I think some of the fans, not saying back on side, but some of the question marks are in the team right now to maybe settle a few. Nothing other than a good win, I think, would have sufficed. Yeah. And they did that, Al.
Yeah, of course. I think with the start that they had last campaign and they got off to a flyer, and then this year they've not started the quickest, losing the first two, and then you're going into this game, there's a little bit of pressure there because you are seen as one of those teams that are going to be up towards the top end of the table. So I think it was important that they did get off to a good start and ultimately win the game, and that's exactly what they've done. I mean, Morton going forward didn't really cause them any real problems, if I'm honest. I'm not even sure if they had a shot on target, but I think for the likes of Yenge, I think that's really big because in the first couple of games he had missed a few opportunities for him to come into this game, and he couldn't miss. As you see there, he's a yard out. You expect him to be there playing between the sticks and being able to finish. So you're hoping that builds momentum for him going forward because they're going to need him. Because I think in terms of options up there, they have been looking. But there, Clarkson, wonderful little finish. And I think that just raises everything. I know they're expected to win, but going there, putting on a good performance, getting through to the quarterfinals, that just lifts just everything in general for them moving forward. So, yeah, good win for them.
Yeah, and moving forwards, Michael, huge game against FCSB, the old Steaua Bucharest, if you like. They've got new players coming in as well. Kenan Bililovic, the Swedish winger, arriving tonight. Confirmation Marko Lazetic is in as well on a 4-year deal. And if he can recapture his old form, if you like, then that could be a brilliant bit of business. Motherwell, their draw in the quarterfinals too. So a lot of Aberdeen fans will think, what a great opportunity to get back to the National Stadium. You know, seasons can turn very quickly if there's any doubters, Michael.
Yeah, they can. I mean, absolutely. I mean, that game at Capello had banana skin written all over it. So for Aberdeen to, and I think as well, just with the negativity that was surrounding the team with the start of the league campaign, there was probably a fair bit of pessimism going into that game, thinking, oh, well, don't fancy us going to Capello. All of a sudden, they get a comfortable victory, and it quickly just starts to calm things down a little bit. But it doesn't last long, because you need to follow it up. And as you've just spoken about, huge European games coming up, on Thursday and then next week as well. And the league's obviously going to be hugely important. But these players that are coming in, Lazetic in particular, they really need him to work, because there isn't, obviously Yenge scores a goal, which is a bonus. But, from what we've seen so far, it doesn't look like he's going to be a goal scoring machine, put it that way. So they need to be finding goals from other places. And if Lazetic was to come in and, as you said, refine that form that he had when he was at Red Star before he got his move to AC Milan, then you'd be saying that they've done a great bit of business there. But it's obviously a big if, because he's had a number of loan moves, since he's been at AC, and they've not quite worked out. But fingers crossed for Aberdeen that they've got somebody there that can do the business, because it's a big season. European football, the strains that puts on the squad as well. And for Scottish football, we really need the likes of Aberdeen when they're in Europe to be making a fist of it and getting some good results.
Yeah, Europa League in 8 games if they can go through to the Europa League game. And of course, we're hoping that Hibs do the business as well. We'll get to them in just a minute. But a massive week for all the Scottish teams in Europe. Al, onwards. Partick Thistle 2, Ayr United 0. Scott Brown, I don't think overly happy with this sort of performance. But Thistle in good form to start this campaign. And a lot of people have got them among the favourites for promotion now.
Yeah, well, that's the main aim. Mark Wilson obviously getting in there, and he wants the team to perform, and that's exactly what he's seen at the weekend. You're right, Scott Brown wasn't happy. He actually questioned the desire of some of the players, weren't willing to run back and chase and do all the things that you need to do to then go and stamp your authority on the game to win. And they didn't really create that much. And I think from a Partick Thistle's point of view, to score the goals in the manner in which they did, and really kind of, it looked comfortable for them. I mean, that's the easiest way I could really say about the game, that it was comfortable, and they're on to the next round, and they'll look forward to playing in the quarterfinals now. But again, yes, this is very good, but it's all about the league for them. They want to be at the top end of that table, really challenging and try and kind of push on to the next level. But good result for them. They'll be happy with that. But for Ayr, it's back to the drawing board. I'm
sure they'll love the draw as well. Mark Wilson will love the draw. Celtic coming to Firhill next in the quarterfinals, Michael. But you obviously see a lot of the championship teams. Have they caught your eye?
Well, not so far, to be perfect. Obviously, they got absolutely scudded off of St Johnstone the first game of the season, 5-1. And then they've followed it up with a draw. So at the moment, it's been... that's why Saturday was an important one for them, because... 2 games in, which is still obviously the league's very much in its infancy, but they're playing against a fellow championship side. So it was important that they made a good showing, just to build a bit of belief and confidence for them. But absolutely, I agree with Al that the sort of the challenge for Partick Thistle is to try and get in and around the hunt for the title and make sure that they're in the playoffs. It's been where they have ended up invariably the last sort of 4 or 5 seasons. They've been in and around that area of the table. And Mark Wilson has obviously got the job full time in the summer now. It's his team. As time will tell whether that plays out. But certainly, it's a good win against a fellow championship side. And as you've just mentioned there, it sets up a very interesting Glasgow derby with Celtic coming to Firhill.
The way you said scudded there made me think that you were questioning that had them among the favourites for promotion, like I mentioned. Anyway, it was a big win at the weekend. Onward, St Johnstone 0, Motherwell 1. This one went to extra time. Alan, Motherwell have added a striker since this game as well, Callum Hendry. But I think positive signs as well. We obviously had Jens Bertolascu on the show, the first programme of the season, and we did say they need another forward player. But overall, you look at the results, the games they've had, I think they're going to be pretty happy, aren't they?
No, they will be happy. I think it's a new management team coming in, a new style of football that we've seen, and it works. I thought it did against Rangers, and they're going to continue to play that way. But when I'm watching the highlights of this game from both sides, and even Valakari likes to play football. We've seen that towards the end of last season. And I just felt, see, whenever it got to the final third, it didn't matter if it was St Johnstone or Motherwell, they were just missing a little bit of something. Yes, they get the goal late on in extra time. It's a lovely little reverse pass there, and Fadinger just managed to get it in the net. But I just feel the opportunities that both sides were making, they're just lacking a little bit up top. And Motherwell needed a striker. I think that's the bit for them. Yes, they can play football and they like to have possession and they can create. It's just having that guy that can go and execute the final bit at the end. And if they can get that, I think they could be dangerous this season. I've seen enough of them to know that they're more than comfortable on the ball, and it was a good result for them.
Callum Hendry, did you like that move, Michael?
Well, I mean, look, Callum Hendry's had a number of clubs in Scotland that he's appeared for. I mean, I don't think you could say, like, just been mentioning with Yengi, it's not somebody that you're looking at and thinking there's barrel loads of goals there. But I think ultimately for Motherwell, if they can just add goals collectively across the team, then it's going to help, because they are creating loads of chances rather than looking to try to find 15, 20 goals for one person, which is very, very difficult. If they can start to add goals from throughout the team, Motherwell will be that is the absolute key issue for Motherwell, because if you look at all their games so far in the Premier Sports Cup and the league, they're not conceding many.
No.
So as much as folk have gone on about, as much as they've gone on about them being open and they'll get slot, nobody has cut Motherwell wide open and battered them and stuck 3-4 past them. So I think what you're seeing is a well-drilled side in and out of possession. The problem just is that finishing touch at the top end of the park. They even drew 1-1 with Hertha Berlin, and in a friendly before the league as well. So this is a team that are pretty good, but that cutting edge at the top end, if they can just add, Callum Hendry could be one of them. If Stamatolopoulos could come up with a few, it could well be that it's just trying to spread the goals across the team collectively. Maswanise, if they can get, close to 10 goals from, 3 guys or whatever, that could be the difference,
Yeah, and St Johnstone, rode the rock maybe a little bit during the game. Motherwell had opportunities, but then in the extra time period, St Johnstone could have easily gone on to win the game. They had a couple of massive chances as well. Mackenzie Kirk continues to be a name linked with loads of teams. Michael, I think Dunfermline, the latest team, show interest, but also Souters down south. How do you think that one will play out? What's the best move for his career next, do you think?
It's an interesting one. I don't know. Difficult to say, to be perfectly honest, because, Dunfermline are clearly wanting to have a real go at it. And Mackenzie Kirk going there could make a difference, could potentially get them in the hunt for getting promoted to the top flight. Or going.
You like him, don't you, as a player? I know you spoke about him a lot last season, but you like him a lot.
He's raw. I think there's aspects of his game which clearly he could do with developing, but he's a young player. He knows how to score a goal, though, I think. Yeah. It's a difficult one. I wouldn't want to say definitively one way or the other, what would be the best route for his career. I think it was Peterborough that we're getting mentioned about down south.
They've got a good record of developing young players.
He's still young, though. Like, he can still play there at St Johnstone for another season. Like you say, he can grow as a player, continue to develop, and then see what it takes you. But I also understand if a fee comes in that they think, right, okay, we can't turn that down, then you understand that you're in that situation where you're probably going to leave. But I'm with you. I don't really see one way or the other being, I think just stay there and continue to play.
Yeah, no doubt he's got the game-changing ability, though, that a lot of managers look for in a player, and the youth, of course, on his side at the moment. Right, onwards, St Mirren against Hearts. Let's just focus on the Saints, Al, to begin with here. Through in penalties. This was obviously probably a standout cup tie from the weekend, and it was a bit of a slugfest at times, all the way to penalties in the end. But Stephen Robinson signing a contract extension, he just keeps on producing the goods in Paisley, doesn't he?
He does. I mean, he's been brilliant for a number of seasons, and what he's done with that club, with the budget they've got, I think, has been brilliant. You know exactly what you're going to get from his team. They're going to be well drilled. Defensively, they're going to be strong, but they've got a threat going forward. And I think they've always had that throughout the season, so it's always going to be difficult. But, I mean, if you look at Hearts, me and Michael were talking about it the other day, like, you see the first goal that they concede. I mean, just little things like this. Like, so see there, from my opinion, see where Frankie Kent is, right? I don't think he should be out there, the last one. I think that should be Shankland. Your better header for me should be in one. And if he's in there, I don't think that goal happens. I think he's probably in a better position to go and clear it. But you're right, just both teams going for it after that, goes all the way to penalties. Braga here, you see Shamal George with a big save. Big, massive goal in there, and it's difficult.
And the St Mirren penalties, by the way, we'll have a look at it, because they were on the whole fantastic. Maybe one that was savable, the rest you'd say very, very good.
Yeah, the young boy Mooney. It's Mooney, isn't it? He scores an absolute cracker. I think this is it here. I mean, the confidence in someone so young. You could tell where that was going, and you're still not saving it. But I don't think Derek McInnes was overly chuffed with it. I think he made something like 3 substitutions at half time that kind of tells you everything about it. But they'll be disappointed. And I think with everything that Dell had said about trophies, and he thinks that team's good enough to go and compete, and then to fall at this hurdle, well, it'll be devastating for him because he's wanting to take this team forward. I think they've got a real good squad there. A different blend. There's always kind of people coming in. So I'm yet to sit and watch them for a full 90 minutes and really get what he's doing with these new guys that are coming in, because I've not had time to see them. But he's definitely got a squad there that he can rotate, and he wants to push to win things.
Yeah. Michael, I mean, Derek McInnes, you know the way he drills his teams and sets them up as well, and they're usually defensively very sound. He will be furious about the way they conceded the goal in that game.
I think regardless of whether you're, fastidious in your sort of set piece play or not, any manager is going to be looking at that and going, "Oh my, what?" Like, you'd be furious. Of course you would. But I mean, there's last week I made a few points and you were getting all, angsty about, "Oh, come on, it's brilliant, it's great, everyone's so positive." And yes, it is. But I was making, the point. And it still remains, and I think it's evident.
It's not like you to burst a bubble.
No, you're right. It's not. I'm very enthusiastic, but there's a few just issues that it'll take a wee bit of time to iron it out. But I think they're key issues that need to be resolved. And right back is a massive one. Hearts are playing a back 3 at the moment, and it's not really the system that Derek McInnes spoke about him wanting to play. And in large part, that's down to not really having a right back. And the wide areas, obviously, they've brought in a number of players now. Kazaridis started, Cabor started as well on the right-hand side. They both got whipped off at half-time, which I think, is pretty telling. And until these guys get up to speed, the other thing, if you look at the team selection from Derek McInnes so far for Hearts this, throughout the campaign, there's not too many guys that you would regard as sort of left field signings. That there have been a few. Braga's the only one that's really been in the team. The rest of them are guys that you would associate with either having been at the club or Derek McInnes has got his fingerprint all over them. He would have known them. He's brought them in. The likes of McEntee and Stuart Finlay, to name 2 in particular. So there's going to take a wee bit of time for those other guys to fit in, but also the key positions to get the balance into the side as well. But that is a massive, massive negative, getting knocked out of the cup.
It's a setback, isn't it? For all the things that Alan just said, Michael, when you talk about targeting the cups and getting among the silverware. And yes, we know it's a difficult game. It's always a difficult game in Paisley, by the way. The way St Mirren have started the season, we know it's tough. But I think it was from just reading some of the Hearts fans, what they're saying, like the style of the game, the way it played out. I think they were really disappointed in some of the individual performances.
Yep. Yeah, and I correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure that Derek came out and said himself that he feels like he maybe made the wrong selection with a few of the guys. And I think, that's just a recognition of what the game's going to be like at St Mirren, and he probably feels hence why he whipped those 2 boys off at half time, because they maybe weren't getting into the game. And Derek's probably looking at it and going, I knew, he's probably thinking, I should have known that, or I did know that, and I've probably gone against my own best, ideas and judgment, and they've paid the price. But as I said, it is a setback, because you're looking at the 2 cup competitions. Until Hearts are in a position to go challenge for the title, which obviously Tony Bloom's been talking about, that I don't see that happening at the moment.
Do you think that all just heaps pressure on them, though? As a club, when you've got your manager coming out, and I think you should aim high, don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't mind that at all. I just mean, do you think then it puts the expectation level up? The fans are expecting this to turn around real quick.
But Hearts, I don't think the Hearts supporters are I'm pretty sure they're not expecting to go and challenge for the title just now, you know. But I think it generates excitement on the project that's unfolding at Tynecastle. But it does probably create a little bit more disappointment when you get knocked at the cup, is what I would say. That, you know, the two cup competitions, the Scottish Cup and the Premier Sports Cup, are clearly massive opportunities to go and have a real sort of go at it. And to get knocked out the first time asking this season, it's a disappointment, as much as that game you knew was going to be a difficult one. Especially because the enthusiasm levels were really high. Anyway, talking of enthusiasm levels, Al, let's test yours. Ibrox, it was an exciting game. Were you expecting such an exciting contest against Alloa at home?
Oh, look, we all knew there was going to be changes, 10 changes, but you still expect, and it's no disrespect to Alloa, you still would expect a Rangers team to turn up and put on a show and be a lot more comfortable, should I say. And I think, look, see the first half, I thought there was some pluses. I think Mikey Moore out wide by Rami, I thought linked up really well and showed that there was something building there. Whether they play a lot with each other in the coming weeks, we'll have to wait and see. But that's a fantastic goal. Mikey Moore just goes as if he's going to go down the line, takes a couple of players away by Rami, great finish. I felt for Bailey Rice. He's not a left back. He doesn't know how to defend in those situations. And it's just a comedy of errors after that. I mean, Max Aarons ends up hitting the ball with it outside his foot off Joe Rothwell's head, and it goes back into goals. I just think, see, defensively, they just switch off. I think at times they do things in forward areas that look good, and you can see what they're trying to do, where they're trying to move defenders, they're trying to get runners in behind, make something happen. But it goes from that to turning over the ball to then completely switching off. I mean, see the goal jigger there. It literally taken him about 5 minutes to try and get back. And there was nothing up with him, which is really disappointing. Here, I think he's unlucky. It's so close to him that I think his arms are in a natural position. He can't get out the way of it. The only thing is it was possibly going on target. And I think that's when he's been called over and looked at it. It's one of them.
Al, see, on that point, irrespective of whether it's going on target or not, that to me, and correct me if I'm wrong here, that shouldn't be a determining factor. You know,
I know what you're saying, but I feel for him.
No, I feel for him as well, because I do think it's harsh. But, you know, if you're standing on the goal line and your arms are by your side and the ball hits your hand, then that's not a penalty kick. Unless...
But I think they've looked at it, right? And see, because his arm is up, we think it's in a natural position. Because I think he's running back to tackle, his arm's up here. It's natural. He's went to flick it back across. It's hit his arm. But from maybe their point of view and how it's laid out in the rule book, it's on target. His arm's there. It's stopped it. Penalty. I think it's harsh. I think it's harsh.
We obviously hear VAR, and some of the things that I heard, they recognised that it was obviously accidental. On target was mentioned, but I just don't think that that's a determining factor. That
it seems to come into the consideration, Michael. That's the thing. I'm with you, by the way, but it does seem to come into the conversation.
Yeah, well, clearly it does. It clearly does. But, you know, I think the determining factor should be what we've spoken about before, in terms of it was in a completely natural position due to his body movement, the proximity of the ball, i.e. it was probably less than a foot away from his hand. I just think it was.
But Michael, that's us talking. That's us talking sense. What people, you've been there yourself. You understand how quickly things happen. Is it natural? Yes. Is it very close? Yes. You can't get out the way of that. Like, I'm with you on it. Like, I think it's incredibly harsh. But from an actual referee standpoint, if they're looking at it and they start saying stuff like, "Well, it's on target" and this and that, that's where there's such a grey area still. I mean, we'll be talking about this all season, no doubt.
Oh, listen, don't you worry about that. VAR on this show always gets a mention in the decision-making. Right, Al, I feel like this every week. There's so many questions to be asked, and Rangers fans get in touch as well, wanting questions answered. So can I just give you a few quick fire ones again? Right, Giga got a lot of praise before this game, but Rangers, every time a ball goes into their box, it looks like a cross set piece, whatever it might be, is causing them problems.
Are these your questions, Darrell?
This is a collection of notes I've had, and fans putting questions in as well, Michael. Let me tell you. But Giga, are you convinced that he deserves the plaudits everyone was giving him? Or are you still concerned about Rangers' ability to defend some of these balls into the box?
Yes, all of the above. Look, I think he has had good moments. He's looked comfortable in the ball. He's been aggressive at times. He's defending. Is there things that need to be better? Yes, absolutely. And I say that as a team, as a unit, not only just him, because I think he has been good at the back. For the goal they concede, he actually runs into traffic. It's not a foul. It's actually a really good tackle. He stays down far too long. He should be up and sprinting back as quick as possible, and that might stop the goal. So there is an issue. Balls into the box, I think, are an issue, but that's a team thing. That's not a one individual. That's doing it as a collective, as a unit, to be able to go and be commanding. But Rangers, I think they miss a little bit of that all over the pitch. We talk about leaders, somebody that's going to go and be that big guy that's going to go just win it and be aggressive with everything that they do. I think they need more of that. They switch off defensively. It's a huge problem because as the games come thick and fast and the level goes up, you look at the games that they've got coming up, it's going to be difficult.
Big games coming up all the time for them at the moment. Huge one, obviously, midweek. I'll get to that in just a second. Given all the conversations we've had about Jefte on this show, if I told you might get £5 million in for him, Al, would you have escorted them personally over to Brazil?
Absolutely, of course. I mean, look, I think defensively he struggled. I think that's their result. But I also understand he's a young guy in a different country, and he needed more help in terms of for his development, because I thought he was okay going forward. He likes to get forward, final delivery, sometimes let him down, but the big thing was defensively. So you pay something like 800,000 or whatever it was at the time for him. It's maybe not quite worked. So to bring in a fee of 5-6 million, I think that's good business. I think this is something that Rangers have to get better at, and we've spoke about it even last season. The player trading model. If you're going to make that sort of money and you can reinvest it back into the squad, then I think it's a good deal for both sides.
No doubt about that. And obviously, Jayden Migoma is into. I think all the Rangers fans are waiting to find out, can he feature in this game coming up midweek? Is he kind of fit enough as well? Because they need an answer at left back right now. And he needs to be. They need it. And obviously, Noble Mendy was linked, and it looked like that was a done deal, and that's fallen through as well. Some more transfer business to be done. This game midweek, now tomorrow night, in fact, is just enormous. Have they got enough about them to go toe-to-toe with a team like Club Brugge? You saw last season, by the way, you saw them quite a bit over.
They were very good, actually.
Is there enough season about them? Yeah.
Brugge.
It's a worry. I think it's definitely went up a level. I seen them last season, and they were very good. They had players in areas that could really go and hurt teams, and the fullbacks got forward, and they had a good style of play. Rangers played them in pre-season and drew with them at Ibrox. I think it was 2-2. So they would have seen what they were all about, even though it was pre-season. You still get a good look at them. I don't sit and totally worry when Rangers play against better opposition, because I think that's when Rangers are at their best. See, when teams come out to play against them, I think that's when they're better. When they have to go and break teams down, I think that's really when they struggle. Of course, it's going to be tough. They need something. Like, they're at home first. I think they need a good result to be then able to take it over there to get through. But I think they'll be up for this one. I hope.
You just San Fran Celtic with a point there. I think San Fran is not forgetting some of the social media comments when Celtic played Club Brugge or Bruges, whatever you want, Michael, last season. Right, listen, it's a massive game, and you just wonder at times, Al, I know we spoke about this a bit earlier on, but all talk of philosophy and trying to play in the right way. If there's ever two games, just throw that out the window, Michael.
Just one.
And to find a way to get through with the money on the line and everything else. These are the kind of ties you just need to find away, don't you? And forget about everything else, passing out from the back or whatever else you might want to do long term.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I think if you look so far in the European games, Panathinaikos, they weren't great, as in Rangers. They were good at the home leg against Victoria Pilsen. The away leg, not so good. They've found a way. That's the thing in these European games. They have found a way. This is another level. This is going up again. Can they raise their level to there and be consistent? That's the big question mark for them. But I'm with you, Darrell. Just win the game. Right? There's so much money and everything on the line, and everything that's going to be good for the club is in these 2 games. You have to just find a way.
They've got a lot of faith in Russell Martin, that's for sure.
Darrell.
Go on, last one. Quick, Michael and Rangers, last one.
Right. This is the hypothetical. From Russell Martin's perspective, is he privately going to wish to actually end up in the Europa League and have the greater chance of getting results? Wait now.
I see your point.
To build belief and confidence in his side, or is he thinking just purely get to the Champions League and get the money, irrespective of what the results might come? And I say that just due to the fact of, if you look at what happened to Giovanni van Bronckhorst and his Rangers side when they ended up in the Champions League. It's not to say that that is definitively what would happen, but at the start of a new career,
I understand. I understand what you're saying. I think, my opinion, Champions League, 1,000,000%. But I also see the flip side to that argument, where Rangers have done well in the Europa League. So that's probably where they're at this moment in time. I think in terms of level of a club, I think they can compete better there. But you have to take this step at some point. You have to reach the higher level and then go for it and try and be a mainstay within there. So I think the way the format is at this moment in time, it suits the teams better. Likes of Rangers, Celtic, even like Aston Villa last year, and that is better for them to have all these games with the opportunity to try and get through. So his eyes will be firmly on Champions League.
And also, just, to throw in my tuppence worth there, Michael, the bigger picture surely is Rangers getting better. And without that Champions League money, especially when you think financial fair play and everything else, without the Champions League money, can they really bridge the gap on Celtic? So even if they were to get battered a few times in the Champions League, it might help them more domestically. But I do take your point, because Europa League's been a brilliant competition for Rangers in recent years.
By the way, I'd be torn either way with it. And I get the point you make in terms of the extra finance that help. My point on the Europa League thing would be, and this is obviously on the basis of thinking that Champions League more difficult, less likely to get results, is that then the fans' perception and the negativity that sort of comes with that off the back of negative results, and how that feeds through to what is already a slightly uncomfortable start for Russell Martin,
Yeah, but better competition, better players. Maybe that's the bottom line. But anyway, we'll see what happens. They'll need to up their game to get past Club Brugge, that's for sure. On to the Sunday games, Michael. I know you can go either way, whichever way you want. If we're going to start doing Bayern München, if we're going to start doing Bayern München and all that now, that's fine. Okay, all right, no problem at all. Listen, I know that. We'll get Derek Ray on. Okay, if you want to do your pronunciations, we'll get Derek on to sort you out. I know you're right. I know you're right. It's about how we refer to these clubs sometimes. I know you're right.
No, Darrell. Where does the ferry go into in Belgium?
Does it go to Brugge?
It goes to Zeebrugge. And that's what you call it, Zeebrugge.
Okay. Yes. All right. Listen, there is always a little question. Anyway, who cares? Quite honestly, who cares? Right? It's all about getting through. That's all that matters to any Rangers fan watching this in Alan Hutton. On to the Sunday games. Michael, Kilmarnock, Dundee United. I think we were all interested to see what Dundee United had left in them after what an effort it was in Europe on the Thursday night, and they were so close, and it was agonising, because that was almost an amazing result for Dundee United and Scottish football. It was a heartbreaker towards the end. They actually played some good stuff, built up a really good fight against Kilmarnock at the weekend, but Killie through to the quarterfinals, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Stuart Kettlewell, he'll be very, very happy with how things are bubbling along for Killie, and getting through to the next round, quarterfinals for Killie is ideal.
And they've got St Mirren, remember?
Yeah, it's brilliant. And for Dundee United, you've got to feel for Dundee United and Jim Goodwin, because the injuries just continue to mount.
Yeah.
And in the face of that, they've been so close. So close in this game, so close in Europe, and unfortunately on both those fronts they're out. It is a real sort of bitter pill to swallow for Dundee United to go out of both Europe and the Premier Sports Cup. It's a tough one, but as I mentioned before, for Killie, they're sort of bubbling along nicely. The thing I would say about Dundee United is that obviously you see this here, going a goal behind, getting themselves back level. We saw that in Europe as well in the first leg, going behind twice, managing to get themselves level. There's clearly a bit of resilience about the team, and they're going to need that in this early part of the season while they're waiting for some of their key signings and key players, the likes of Ryan Strain, to get back fit and get a full fit squad.
Yeah, they need that. I think you're spot on as well. Kilmarnock fans watching on, Alan, you know, if you will be pretty pleased because there were question marks over the appointment of Stuart Kettlewell. But you think they come back against Hibs at Easter Road the previous week and now through to the quarters. St Mirren, hosting St Mirren as well. What a chance for them to get to Hampden.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've been showing really good character within the squad. I think the players that has come in has really helped because you think of the uncertainty with Derek McInnes leaving, everything that comes with that. They lost a lot of experienced players from last term. So I think what we're seeing now at such an early point, I think, is leaning to a lot of positives. So I do like the way Kettlewell's went about it. But did you listen to Jim Goodwin after the game, his interview? Yeah. Oh, wow. He was not happy, was he? And I do feel for them because they've just, like Mikey says, they've been close, but yet so far, and everything's just seemed to pile up. And he was talking about the weather down here and the sticky pitch and all that. It was comedy gold, to be fair, but you could feel the pain within them, everything that they've been through. But yeah, difficult one for them, but I'm glad to see, obviously, Kilmarnock getting through.
Special mention for Brannan because he is just on fire. Absolutely
very good.
On fire.
He really is, and you're right on Dundee United. Emotionally draining few days for them. Yeah. Zach Sapsford was injured, wasn't he, in the European game? Then Max Waters obviously contributed. He's gone off injured against Kilmarnock. Lucas Stevenson is coming back, and that's obviously pleased a lot of fans as well that they've managed to get him back again on loan from Liverpool. So maybe better days ahead, and brilliant, by the way, against Rapid Vienna, and maybe even deserve more after the way they played in parts in extra time. So they'll fight another day. On to Hibs now, another team that obviously had an incredible European night. I mean, Michael, I watched the game. You just didn't know which way it was going to swing at times. They were hanging on at times, but then that brilliant goal by Kieran Bowie to come back and then to go to Livy and to make sure that they negotiate that tie as well. On the flip side, the Dundee United Hibs have had a fantastic few days.
Aye, just quite incredible, really. It's when you talk about things moving along nicely for Hibs, it couldn't be much better, to be perfectly honest. New signings have come in and made a huge impact. They're through the playoff game in Europe.
Yeah,
the side's looking fit. Grant Hanley came in on Sunday and did brilliant. Just yesterday, of course, did really well. Clige up top looked a real handful.
Got his goal, yeah.
Aye, and got a goal. And Chaiwa as well in the middle of the park. He started and looked, like he had a bit about him. 6 changes Hibs made. 6 changes. And we talk.
It shows you where they're at.
Yeah, it does, exactly. It shows you there's competition for places, healthy competition. You're going to Livy, which is a difficult game, like a real difficult game. And they were, they were the best side. The performance just got better as the game went on and culminated in this. This is an absolute world of a side.
I know we all saw a lot of Josh Mulligan last season, by the way, Michael. There was talk of him going to maybe someone like Rangers, but what a signing by Hibs. I mean, he is going to be a star for them.
Yep. Well, I mean, it looked as if the deal was done at Rangers, and then they decided to back out. And you've got to say, on the face of it,
they're desperate for a right back.
Yeah, because Hibs look like they've got a great signing. I mean, even when he signed, you knew that's a good signing for Hibs. But he's kicked on. He's really kicked on. Because the one thing you would say about Josh Mulligan last season was just end product, adding that end product, because all the attributes were there. And obviously, I'm not saying he's going to be scoring goals like that every week, but set up the goal in extra time that Chris Cadden scored in Europe on Thursday night. scores an absolute worldie after coming off the bench just to see the game out and calm things down yesterday. His all-round game is improving all the time. And yeah, I just think Hibs are in a very, very strong position.
Al, just a couple of things going back to the European game. I should say, by the way, David Martindale signed a 2-year contract extension as well with Livingston, so good news for them and their fans. But just sticking with Hibs here, because it's been a heck of a week. The Kieran Bowie goal, Kieran Adam.
Brilliant.
What a finish, particularly given the state of the game at the time. Sometimes we see wonder goals and a team's 4 or 5-0 up or something, but to do it when you really need it like that. And then also the goalkeeper, Jordan Smith, who we talked a lot about last season, howlers in the game, but then coming up with some wonderful saves when they needed him. The game had everything, didn't it?
Yeah, well, from a Jordan Smith point of view, of course, I'd be very disappointed with a couple of the goals. And I was actually sitting watching it at halftime thinking he might make a change. But I'm glad he didn't. Once I seen what he went and produced in the second half, you're thinking, well played, showed great character to be able to deal with that and move forward. But the strike from Bowie is just, oh my God. That shows you where a player is at this moment in time. Playing with pure freedom, understands what he's capable of, to, in that moment, have that picture and I suppose the audacity a wee bit to actually go and do it. I mean, it was unbelievable. I love seeing that. And you think for Scotland and stuff, like him being in this vein of form right now, it just leads back to what Michael's been saying and where he should be playing.
Yeah, and the coefficient as well. I think the only thing was, Michael, watching on, right? That was Partizan Belgrade team, a lot of youth in that side who haven't been in wonderful form. Legia is going to be a step up, isn't it, next? So what sort of confidence, what level of confidence do you have that if they play the same way, they can get through another tie like that?
I'm confident, I mean, because you need to remember, Hibs went toe-to-toe with Midtjylland.
They did, I know, and they were seconds away, I know. Right.
So it's not just you're not just looking at Partizan Belgrade in isolation. And yes, they had moments that went their way in Belgrade, sending off, penalty kick, but the performance actually deserved that. Their performance was outstanding.
I just mean the way they defended at times in the home game. I just thought they looked awfully open at times, and Partizan created so much. And in Europe, eventually that will cost you, won't it?
Look, I've said it before, and I said it before Thursday night. Goalkeeper is an issue for Hibs.
Yeah.
That is an issue. They need to, whether Salinger is going to be, he came in yesterday and looked fine. Whether David Gray is going to stick with him, that's a big call on Thursday. It's going to be an interesting one. Because with the greatest respect to Jordan Smith, he was number 2. He'd been a number 2, always came in last season, definitely, did well, but they're going to have to make a decision on that one, and it's a tough one. But I just look at the overall team, Darrell, and I think they're in a very good place. They've got good balance, they're good threats, they've got strength defensively now as well. Grant Hanley's coming in as a very good, addition, and fingers crossed they can see through against Legia Warsaw, and then I genuinely believe in the group stage Hibs could make a real fist of it. I do. I think they're...
Michael, just edge right touch, will you? Because I know this doesn't happen often where you are, but it looks like the sun's just landed in your living room. There you go. There you go. Lovely, Michael. Right, okay.
See, if I go down a wee bit, it could almost be like a halo, Darrell. There we go.
Yes, but...
I don't think that would ever happen.
There we
go.
To
be honest, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Michael Stewart.
Thank you, pal. Thank you, pals.
There's Michael's wife.
Yay!
That's unreal. That's his burner account again. That's incredible. Right, brilliant. Okay, listen, stop that. No halo needed, okay? And stop getting your family to send the comments in, please. Michael, pick of the quarter-final ties is surely Rangers against Hibs. Right now, and I know things can change before then, of course. Right now, who's the favourite?
Go on, Huts.
I asked you the question.
No, I didn't. I asked you, Al. Only that was designed for you, mate.
I think Rangers are favourites in that tie.
He must be going back to Ibrox soon. He must be wanting back in the door, Michael. Incredible. Right,
I'll tell you one thing, it'll be a good game. I know that.
A brilliant game. And it's a stick on to be live on TV. Yeah. Absolute stick on. All 4 quarterfinals, of course, one way or another, live on Premier Sports, either via the Premier Sports Player, and 2 live games still to be announced on TV as well. That's the weekend of the 20th and 21st of September. Can't wait. Honestly, some cracking games to come up there. And also just to tell you as well that obviously we had Falkirk Hibs scheduled. That game was going to be postponed now because Hibs are through in Europe. So hopefully we'll get to show that again later in the season. We'll soon find out. But the Dundee Derby coming up at the end of this month. That's the 31st of August. You can also...
Hibs have definitely cancelled their game, yeah? Definitely.
Falkirk against Hibs, that's been postponed, yes.
Yeah. So
it's been all I know is it's not live in Premier Sports. Okay, Michael, don't quote me on anything else. At the moment, that game is...
They're not going back and asking to play it now.
Oh, I see where you're going here. I see where you're going. Yeah, was it only a suggestion it was cancelled? Okay, right, enough of that. No, I don't know. I'm just telling you what I've been told. All right. Also on the 6th of September, we've got KDM Evolution Trophy. Might interest some Celtic fans. You can see Alloa against the Celtic B-side. Then the 13th of the 9th, as you can see, 13th of September, we've named it. We've got Hibs against Dundee United in Premier Sports, which is great. And as I said, all the quarterfinals coming live as well. Almost out of time. Just another thank you to our sponsors in this show as well, SBK. Appreciate their support. Al, Michael, thank you very much. We get in just under an hour again. That's it. All done. We're back next week with a top flight player. Michael's promised joining us on the programme. I won't say anything else just in case he gets let down again. But we'll see you next Monday on the Social Club. Bye for now.